The one-man riot, Derek Bryant, 33 years of age, entering the ring here in the Hideaway Showroom at the Silverton Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. 17-2-0, 14 knockouts, goes 6-3. This is a heavyweight battle between Bryant out of Philadelphia and Robert Wiggins from East Providence, Rhode Island, another heavyweight. Was managed by Chick Ciccarone, 18-3-1 with 11 knockouts in 22 fights. It is a slugfest between two southpaws here, Dave Copeland.
Yeah, and of course the key thing in this fight is that one of those Robert Wiggins losses came at the hands of Derek Bryant. A fight stopped due to swelling over the left eye of Wiggins, and that was in June of 2002. So a 2-year anniversary, basically, and one that Wiggins would like to erase from the memory banks.
Wiggins has waited 2 years for this fight, and now it is tonight's main event. It's a heavyweight collision, Robert Wiggins and Derek Bryant. Jake Gutierrez is the ring announcer with the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe DeGuardia, Star Boxing, Rock and Sock Productions, and the Silverton Hotel and Casino are proud to present our featured bout of the evening, scheduled for 8 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is John Bailey. Commissioners are Dr. Tony Alamo, Skip Avencino Jr., Joe W. Brown, and Dr. Flip Homansky. The executive director is Mark Ratner. Physicians at ringside, we have the lead is Dr. Margaret Goodman, and the second is Dr. Al Capana. Our timekeepers this evening are Al Bisick and Mike Lachella. The 3 judges scoring this bout will be Dave Moretti, Bill Graham, and Dwayne Ford, and your referee in charge of our main event is Robert Bird. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Silverton Hotel and Casino, right here in exciting Las Vegas, Nevada, it's time for the leather to fly. This is the main event. Introducing first, he fights out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 213 pounds. Tonight he enters the ring wearing black trunks. His professional record stands at 17 victories, 14 wins by knockout with only 2 defeats. From the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, introducing Derek, the one-man riot, Bryant. And his opponent, he fights out of the red corner. He weighed in at 226 pounds. He's wearing white trimmed in black. His record stands at 18 victories, 3 defeats, 1 draw, 11 big wins by knockout. From Providence, Rhode Island, here is Robert Wiggins.
Hey guys, I gave you instructions in the dressing room. What I'm telling you now is when I tell you stop, that means stop whatever you're doing. Give me a clean break. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Let's do it.
The Superman cap of the one-man riot, Derek Bryant, comes off. And it was 2 years ago. In fact, when they fought 2 years ago, Wiggins was initially scheduled to fight Monty Barrett, and Bryant replaced him late on the card. So it's kind of funny how things come around. A scheduled 10-rounder heavyweight battle. I'll make a correction. We were told this will be an 8-round fight, not a 10-rounder.
It's an 8-rounder. There was a bit of a contract dispute as far as that goes, and it has been resolved, and they will fight 8 rounds or less.
Well, if these boxers, one of these boxers gets their way, to be less than 8.
And Bryant coming out in a most peculiar style. I don't know what that is. Looks like he's doing some kind of a rabbit impersonation out there. I think he'll settle down at some point and fight. You can count on that. You don't get 14 knockouts and 17 wins without setting down on your punches and delivering them properly. But he's trying to give a lot of movement right now to Robert Wiggins. And he slipped a right hand in. Movement paying off for Bryant.
You ever seen a guy swing his right arm like that?
I don't know what that... I'm trying to figure out what that is, what it reminds me of. Nothing.
At a loss. Now they clinch. Maybe that's what a one-man riot does.
Wiggins, the shorter fighter.
Derek Bryant in the black trunks. Robert Wiggins in the white trunks. Clinched up. Right there is Robert Bird, the referee.
We mentioned they met each other in Savannah, Georgia. Wiggins takes the loss on the TKO. Not a controversial stoppage. There's nothing they can do about it. He get an injury over the left eye and it swelled up and they had to stop the fight. As far as the losses for these fighters are concerned, counting that loss, the other two losses for Wiggins were to Monty Barrett, split decision, DeVarrell Williamson, unanimous decision. A fight in which Williamson got his jaw broken, but still managed to get the victory thanks to a couple of knockdowns. So the three losses for Wiggins have been to fighters with a combined record of 57-3 at the time they fought. Pretty good.
That's good.
Not as good, actually, well, just about as good percentage-wise, as Bryant. His two losses, Jovo Podar, a TKO in the 6th round in November of 2003, and to Eric Kirkland, a TKO in the 9th round in March of 2003. They are combined 34-2 at the time those fights took place.
Wiggins continuing to try to land a right-handed jab, and both of these fighters are left-handed. They fight southpaw style. And Bryant trying to land a right hand as well. Well, the footwork of Bryant is okay at this point in time, entertaining to say the least. But really in this first round, not much activity.
No.
Finishes up with a couple of big misses. And a good strike by a right uppercut by the one-man riot, Derek Bryant, to end round one. That's a tough one. Who do you go with on Koken's card in round one?
It was kind of a goofy style by Bryant for much of the round, but Wiggins didn't do anything.
Can't get enough of Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing? Download the Star Boxing TV app or check out our Roku channel to watch exclusive content and classic fights. Every punch, every knockout, every screen. The Star Boxing TV app gives you exclusive access to every moment of Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. Available on Apple, Android, and Roku. Just search Star Boxing to get in the ring.
This is the debut in Nevada for Robert Wiggins. A lot of his fights taking place, basically all of his fights taking place back east, except for a journey down for a quartet of fights to Savannah, Georgia. Actually, a quintet of fights in Savannah, Georgia. But there's other fights: Atlantic City, Yonkers, Foxwoods, Mohegan Sun, all the New England stops from East Providence. So that kind of figures. 35 years old.
And fighting in Las Vegas for the first time, and for any fighter, this is where you want to fight.
At some point. Now, Derek Bryant has been here before. He fought at the Paris Hotel on a couple of occasions back in 2002, and he did very well, scoring knockout wins over Jorge Luis Gonzalez. Remember Gonzalez? Overhyped heavyweight who was a great amateur from Cuba, but did not fare well as a pro. First round knockout for Bryant. He really put himself on the map with that win. And then he came back out and scored a 5th round knockout over Lovey Page a couple months later in 2002, both at the Paris. But his only loss was also in the state of Nevada, up north, Lake Tahoe at Caesars. The aforementioned defeat to Jovo Podar. And that was an alarming loss in a way, because Podar is not a real big heavyweight.
Wiggins and Bryant meeting for the second time. Bryant beating Wiggins in their first meeting. Lot of clinching so far in the early going, and Bryant didn't want any part of it.
And typically when we see fighters meeting for the second time, not all the time, but as a rule, a lot more respect is shown, especially if the first fight was a tough fight. And even though it only lasted 4 rounds, it was a close fight at the time. It was just one of those unfortunate things where the injury suffered by Wiggins and it just couldn't continue.
Wiggins had Bryant in the headlock. Now, Wiggins has thrown a couple of powerful right hands that have just not connected. Bryant ducking out of the way. That's probably going to be the calling card for Wiggins here tonight if he can connect with 3 or 4 of those.
According to the computer ratings, these two guys are about as close as it gets. It was an even fight coming in, and I got a feeling it's going to play out that way, despite the fact that we're seeing radically different styles. Obviously, Wiggins is an inside guy. He doesn't have long arms. He's kind of squat. He wants to get in, land punches in close. Bryant, on the other hand, wants to be on the outside, jabbing, sticking, moving, using his reach advantage. Nice backhand there by Wiggins, and Robert Byrd picked up on that and said, son, I'd rather you not do that, because it's against the rules.
Here in the main event, prior to this one, Ukrainian Andrei Zirkin knocked out Joshua Smith, TKO in the 3rd round.
Bryant trying to go to the body now. Good idea. Bryant in the black and Wiggins in the white.
Close to the end of round 2.
There's a right hand by Wiggins. His first significant punch of the fight.
Bryant's got a mouse developing under his right eye. Wiggins hit him with something, and that's the end of the 2nd round. But certainly Wiggins has been landing some punches inside, and he's connected on one. And if you look at the right eye, there's going to be some blood developing, and that's not good news if you're Derek Bryant.
The good news is, though, if you've got to have a cut, you want it under the eye and not over the eye. Biggest win for that man, Robert Wiggins, came back in December 2001. Scored a 10th round knockout over the unbeaten Eric Kirkland at the time. Kirkland was 13-0, and Wiggins was supposed to be the trial horse. It turned out to be a lot more than that. Bryant's biggest win is probably the victory over Wiggins.
Round 3 underway at the Silverton Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Their first venture into the fight game. So far, it's going extremely well. A sold-out house here.
They call this the Hideaway Ballroom, but it's not going to be a hideaway. Everybody's going to know where it is now.
Joe DeGuardia presenting tonight, Star Boxing. Good line, Dave.
I liked it. Oh, there was a right hand from outside, shot by Wiggins. It'd be interesting to see, Tim, if the cut itself is not significant for Bryant, unless it swells up. How ironic would that be if Bryant's eye swelled up and caused him a problem? Because that's the exact same thing that happened when they fought the first time, only it was Wiggins who had the accident before him.
Wiggins working on the head of Bryant. Bryant
that's a nice shot on the inside.
Wiggins back with that right hand.
The stronger punches are definitely being thrown by Wiggins. Bryant has a piece of tape that is might be able to pick it up. You can see it kind of flopping around off his left hand. Robert Byrd needs to notice that and get it trimmed. That can fly around and get into an eye.
Onto the body that time is Byrd. Bryant, rather. And again, Byrd hasn't noticed the string of tape on the right glove. Left glove, rather, of Derek Bryant. Combination of a big overhand left.
And Wiggins doesn't care about that glove. He wanted revenge, and so far, he's having some success exacting it. There was a shot by Bryant on the inside. That's where the damage is being done. Now Bryant gets a left hand in. Good body shot by Wiggins, though. Wiggins is the bigger puncher here.
He's got more behind it, and he's inflicting some damage.
But Bryant has the bigger knockout percentage. 14 of his 17 wins by KO, as opposed to 11 of 18 for Wiggins.
Like Wiggins snuck a left elbow in there, unintentionally.
Well, maybe he meant it. He meant that, and that causes Derek Bryant to hold on.
Strong right hand.
Best moment of the fight for Robert Wiggins. Oh, boy. Wiggins is hurting it. Big round.
Robert Wiggins with a flurry here at the end of round 3, and Derek Bryant has to feel the effects of that as he heads back to his corner. Boy, Robert Wiggins, once he heard the clap indicating the end of the round, he went to work.
Hey boxing fans, come out for live boxing. Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing presents Rockin' Fights. For ticket information, go to starboxing.com or ticketmaster.com. See some of the best young fighters. Star Boxing, Rockin' Fights, it's a knockout.
That was a serious round for Derek Bryant. That was not a good round for him at all. And they're doing something that I don't like it. I never have. Standing the fighter up between rounds.
George Foreman
You know,
made a living out of that.
Yeah, and George would psych out opponents doing that. How are you going to psych out this guy right now? If they think this is going to have any psychologically negative impact on Derek Bryant, on Robert Wiggins, I should say, they're nuts. Wiggins just had a great round. Sit him down between rounds and let him get a minute's rest. Comes out fresh, though. And right back with that left hand is Wiggins. The first time around, fourth round, TKO after the fourth round, actually.
Yeah, they went 4, and just before the start of round 5 was when they stopped it.
Due to the swelling over the eye of Wiggins.
Big body blow right there by Wiggins.
Right now, it is Wiggins. He's inflicting some serious punishment on Bryant.
Bryant has an inability now to block those uppercuts from Wiggins. Wiggins will start him with a body blow and then come back with a hook.
Derek Bryant's almost, I guess you could call it carefree posture of the first round, where he was kind of skipping around the ring, swinging his arms back and forth. He's
not
doing
skipping
that anymore.
now.
No. And he's got, to me, a more concerned look in his face.
It's amazing how the story changes for both fighters. At the beginning, it's one way, and as you continue to move on, things change. And it's changed for Bryant. It's also changed for Wiggins, because Bryant did a good job in the first round, won the round according to Koken's card, unofficial card. Now Wiggins just with some strength there and a big right hook.
He hasn't won any rounds since, and that, I'm almost going to say you can take it to the bank that that's official. Wiggins looks like he's having a good time in there right now, doesn't he? He's almost smiling when he throws these shots.
Ready, aim, fire for Robert Wiggins here in our main event.
Boy, revenge is a huge motivator, isn't it? Especially when you believe you can get it done. There was a good exchange by both guys. A very good left hand by Bryant, and Wiggins answers with a huge right hand. And I think Bryant might be in some trouble now.
Saw Robert Wiggins. And up against the ropes. Derek Bryant not having anything close to a riot tonight. Another overhand right. Wiggins being patient. Here in round 4. Bryant had enough to duck out of the way of that right hook. Not that one, however. And now he's started to fight his way out of the corner, realizing he's in trouble.
Yeah, but unfortunately, and this is where the strength of Wiggins comes in. He is the bigger guy in terms of a body build, if you will. He just wouldn't let him out of the corner.
The right hand, the lead hand, has been much more effective than the left for Wiggins. But he's won each round since the first. And round 4 comes to an end, and this is as far as these two fighters had gone in the previous fight. But they'll head to a 5th here at the Silverton Hotel and Casino.
Can't get enough of Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing? Download the Star Boxing TV app or check out our Roku channel to watch exclusive content and classic fights. Every punch, every knockout, every screen. The Star Boxing TV app gives you exclusive access to every moment of Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. Available on Apple, Android, and Roku. Just search Star Boxing to get in the ring.
Bryant wasn't. Bryant's getting tagged with punches, but he's in great shape.
He can take a punch.
Yeah.
He's left little doubt about that. And he did have a bit of a flurry toward the end of round 4 where he tried to punch his way out of the corner. But now we start round 5.
Main event at the Silverton, living up the billing right now. Tim, this is a good fight.
And Bryant started to bounce around again, much like he did in the first round.
Yeah, but he's not doing that silly thing with his right arm.
The pendulum swing.
Yeah. It looked like he was pulling a chain when he was doing that. That's what he does. No, he gave up on that in a hurry. Good move, too. Despite the fact that the better jab is supposed to belong to Derek Bryant, Wiggins has landed first in this fight on a consistent basis.
Trouble now for Bryant as he's against the ring ropes.
Yeah, but a lot of those punches are getting blocked. And remember that Wiggins did appear winded between rounds. So, you know, I won't call it a rope-a-dope because that would be ludicrous to suggest that he could, you know, was seeing anything that Muhammad Ali could do. But
Bryant and Wiggins
it's not a bad
right
idea.
now. Bryant just said something to Wiggins that had Wiggins laughing. They were having a verbal exchange in the corner, almost friendly.
Well, they're not acting like friends.
At one point, I don't know if you saw it, Dave, Bryant, when he was taking a couple of blows from Wiggins, kind of looked over here and shook his head like he was okay, and now he goes down.
We have an injury here. I believe that Bryant's hurt his left shoulder. It's his left shoulder. And he is really hurt.
Let's go.
So he's going to try and fight. He is. How ironic is this? The first time around, it was Wiggins who got stopped due to swelling over the eye in a very close fight, went to Bryant. Bryant has clearly hurt his left shoulder, and I don't know how he's going to be able to continue.
It's obvious.
He is in serious pain in there. Plus, he's getting nailed pretty well by Wiggins.
Be limited to pretty much using his right hand only. If his shoulders hurt too badly.
Unless it was just a stinger that goes away, and sometimes that happens. But he hasn't thrown a left hand since.
Combination by Wiggins.
Wiggins doing a good job landing on the inside. Now, threw the left hand there, and it's hurting him. You can see Bryant tried to throw the left hand, and Winston pain afterwards. Right eye is puffing up. There's some damage done over the side to the side of the left eye on Bryant as well. Wiggins, no marks.
Bryant down to one hand. That's his right. He's not thrown a left, as Dave pointed out.
He tried to throw one, and that didn't work out very well.
Here in round 5 of the main event, and Wiggins in control.
And we'll head to the corner of Derek Bryant between rounds to see what's wrong with that shoulder.
Solid left there by Wiggins. And that is round 5.
Well, Wiggins is going to continue.
Yep, Dr. Campagna says he's okay. And we'll go to round number 6. And again, he has not thrown a left hand since he showed the obvious signs of the shoulder being injured.
And I think Wiggins knows he's hurt because, well, he obviously indicated that he was.
Free up your hands, no punches.
Bryant holding on.
Free up, step back, no punches. There you go.
There's been some blood coming from underneath the right eye of Derek Bryant.
Good job in the corner, though. They've stemmed that flow.
Let him up, let him out. Let him up, let him out.
It's not something that's causing a great deal of concern for Derek at this point. But that shoulder's another story. Young man from Philadelphia in some pain, and has attempted to throw only one left hand since the injury, and it didn't land, and he has not thrown a single left hand in this round.
Solid right a moment ago, connected by Wiggins.
So Bryant's in a defensive posture now as he's a one-handed fighter. That's not a good recipe for success. It could slow the pace of this fight too, because I think you can see Bryant do a lot more holding on the inside. Oh, there's a nice right hand by Wiggins. Bryant lands his own, but it's not his out punch. His left is his stronger punch, and he can't use it right now. What's he gonna do? Right, even there. I mean, he threw 3 right hands and no left hand. Right there. Look, every time he touches him, we could see it better here than you could on camera because it was a difficult angle. But even just tapping Wiggins with the left hand to the side, that was hurting Bryant. He's got a definite shoulder injury. It's not just one of those stingers. Could very well be a rotator cuff or something like that. Labrum. One of those nasty things that you hear with major league pitchers all the time. They happen to this point too.
Robert Wiggins holding on now to Derek Bryant. Wiggins in the white trunks, black trunks for Philadelphia and Bryant.
Triple jab, Bryant. Nothing much discouraging Robert Wiggins at this point as the Rhode Island is out there doing a heck of a job.
From East Providence.
Bryant trying to throw a left hand, ineffectual at best.
Now they just hold on. Referee Robert Bird says get back in there and fight. This is round 6 of a scheduled 8-rounder here at the Silverton.
Well, right now, with the injury, Derek Bryant appears to be in some difficulty in this fight with Robert Wiggins. If that's the case, and it continues to flow that way, it'll be one apiece in this rivalry.
That's going to do it for round 6. Koken's card, you got to give that to Wiggins again?
I have Wiggins winning 5 consecutive rounds now, including a 10-8 in round 5 when he scored a knockdown. So on my card, it's a pretty big margin at this point, 59-54, with only 2 rounds to go.
Hey boxing fans, come out for live boxing. Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing presents Rockin' Fights. For ticket information, go to starboxing.com or ticketmaster.com. See some of the best young fighters. Star Boxing, Rockin' Fights, it's a knockout.
You know, it's got to be a real puzzle for him, because what he wants to do, he can't do. He's physically unable to do it right now. And to me, you got to go out there and try and get lucky with the right hand. If you can't throw the left, then not much you can do about it. Wiggins, meanwhile, don't just keep doing what you've been doing. Wiggins has got the game plan working tonight.
Wiggins
he really
continues
has
to use that right hand jab.
Good job. Bryant's sure trying to land that right hand, but it's basically like almost fighting with one hand behind your back. The only thing you can use the left for is defense, and it throws everything off. Your balance gets thrown off, your timing gets thrown off, and that can hurt you defensively as well.
Robert Wiggins worked very hard for this fight. He's rededicated himself in the ring to try to get back to winning more fights. Spends 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week as a dock worker in East Providence. He's working on one-man riot right now, Derek Bryant.
The docks in East Providence are as tough as they are in New York City. You think so?
I have my doubts. I have my doubts.
I don't know. You find out. You ask him. Tell him that you said that the dock workers in New York are tougher than the dock workers in these provinces. I'd never say that. I'm from Providence.
You just don't say anything and go on your way. Wiggins is tired, though. Both fighters
throwing a lot of punches.
Are very fatigued.
Oh, that's a nice left-right combination. Very nice work by Robert Wiggins. And that right got in.
Bryant had to feel that.
And actually, Wiggins, I'm telling you, I feel bad for this guy right now. He's not doing it where his opponent can see him. He's trying to hide it. But every time he even throws just a little tap with the left hand, he is absolutely wincing in pain. I tell you what, I don't think Bryant's going to win this fight, but he's going to win a lot of respect. Not that he didn't have it already. He's a very good fighter, but this is a gallant performance by an injured guy. And at the same time, I don't want to take away from Wiggins, who's fighting an outstanding fight, Tim.
Hanging on right now, taking a rest.
Needs it.
We've seen him connect on some uppercuts, some short uppercuts to the chin. And he continues with that right jab, and then he'll set up his right hook and sometimes slip that left hook in.
Oh, nice shot there with the right hand by Bryant to conclude the round, but didn't have much of an impact. And I think you can chalk that one in the win column for Robert Wiggins again.
Well, Wiggins comes into the bout 18-3-1 with 11 knockouts in 22 fights. 19 fights for Derek Bryant prior to this one. 17-2-0. Records are similar. Number of fights are similar. Getting set for the 8th and final round. It's been a good card here tonight. Monica Nunez in a ladies bout beat Shelley Burton. Andre Turkin, TKO over Joshua Smith. Marvin Eastman in his professional debut, the corrections officer from North Las Vegas. His first professional bout, the former mixed martial arts specialist, UFC K1 fighter, beat Willie Brody.
He laid down the law.
He did. You've been waiting for that one.
I have.
Brody fought the law, and the law won. So Wiggins and Bryant in the final round of this match.
And it would appear at this point that Derek Bryant would need a miracle. He hasn't, I don't think he's ever been in any danger of being stopped outside of the injury itself. Whoop, a little shot on the break there.
So Wiggins with a big left hand right there, missed with a right. And some blood now coming from the bottom lip of Derek Bryant.
Bryant has really had to go through into a defensive mode. He just has not. I don't think he's thrown a real left hand since the injury. A couple of attempted little, almost love taps on the inside.
It's probably been more of a reaction than anything else.
Yeah, I think so. More instinctive. Holding on the inside, and really Bryant not making a great effort to get away at this point. I think he knows that this is not his night. We're looking at a situation where they're going to be at one win apiece. This is going to beg for a rematch to me when Bryant gets healthy. I think this was going to be a very close fight, in my opinion, had it not been for the injury.
Wiggins just continuing to move Bryant up against the ropes. And he's just going to hang on here as long as he can. do much here in round 8.
And so it, in a sense, mercifully coming to an end for for Derek Bryant, because he's lost most of the rounds in this fight and he got hurt.
So it'll look like Wiggins has evened the score after their first 2 fights.
The good news for Bryant is it's not a crushing defeat. It's one he can bounce back from and still forge out contender status for himself in the heavyweight division. And Wiggins takes a big step up in getting a revenge win. He's not going to care that Bryant was hurt along the way, and quite frankly, he was the better guy anyway.
Well, Wiggins will go to his 19th win, and Bryant to his 13th loss. Bryant continues to fight, despite being way behind on points, and that's it. 8 rounds in the books, and our main event is over, and Robert Wiggins took a couple of blows there in the final few seconds from Bryant.
But not enough to change my verdict. I gave the first round in this fight to Derek Bryant. I gave all the rest to Robert Wiggins, in round 5 a knockdown, which was more the result of an injury sustained to the left shoulder of Derek Bryant, which we will try and find out about. And from that point on, it just was all Robert Wiggins. I have it 79-72, so a lopsided verdict for Wiggins on my card. But again, my score doesn't count.
It's the
3 judges.
3 judges at ringside.
Dave Moretti, Bill Graham, Dwayne Ford, 3 of the best. They have the A list of the Las Vegas judges, so I don't think there's any reason to even doubt for a second that they won't have the perfect score here.
Joe DeGuardia there on the right, just backing out of your picture, now coming back into it. Joe DeGuardia presenting this card here tonight at the Silverton Hotel and Casino. And for the results, we go to Jake Gutierrez in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division, we go to the scorecards. Judge Dave Moretti scored this bout 78-73. Judge Bill Graham scores it 77-74. And Judge Dwayne Ford scored the bout 78-73. All for the winner by unanimous decision, Robert Wiggins.
Well, a decisive victory and a unanimous decision for Robert Wiggins. That man has picked up a very important win.
And revenge is sweet for Robert Wiggins, and for Derek Bryant.
And he's even
still holding that left arm.
He's having trouble getting out of the ring, actually, as you can see there. Looks like there's going to be some time on the disabled list for Derek Bryant.
Our Trip Mitchell is in the ring right now, getting set to talk to the winner of this bout, Robert Wiggins. Seems to have a bit of a cough right at the moment.
Well, you know, better now than during the fight.
Yeah, here's
Robert,
Trip.
You had to wait a while, but you finally got revenge. How does it feel?
Feels excellent just to get a victory. I'm happy. I'm happy to get the victory. I'm thankful for him to give me a chance. I feel wonderful.
Bryant said to me yesterday, you hit like a horse, and you could see you were working inside and using your strength advantage. Tell me about that.
Well, I was trying to. I think he hurt his right shoulder in the 4th or 5th round, and I started working on the uppercuts to try to hook off it. He had good enough movement and ducking to stay out of the way, but I should have done more left hands.
But once he hurt his shoulder, he was basically a one-man fighter.
Well, jab, 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 and move. And I tired out. I haven't fought a 2-round fight in 14 months. We're getting in shape.
Okay. You looked like you were starting to slow down a little bit there, but then you got your second win once he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, I did, because I saw he was in trouble. But I should have did more. I should have been able to get him out of here, one-hand fighter. Should have, but he was pretty slick. He's got experience. He moved, ducked, bobbed, and weaved. He did well.
Okay, are we going to see a rematch?
Oh, yes, definitely so. If he wants a rematch, we give him one.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much, all of you.
All right, well, Robert Wiggins says if Derek Bryant wants a rematch, he'll gladly give him one. So we might see a
I think there should be
Wiggins-Bryant 3.
I think there should be. Why not? The first win was a little bit tainted for Bryant because Wiggins could not compete anymore because of a swelling above his eye. And meanwhile, you can argue, I think Wiggins was the better guy tonight, but you can argue that Wiggins benefited from the shoulder injury to Bryant in this fight. And because of that, I think they should fight one more time. I think that both guys can say, hey, it would have been a different result had I been in good health for all 8 or 10 rounds.
So Robert Wiggins gets the victory in our main event tonight over Derek Bryant, a unanimous decision after 8 rounds of boxing. Prior to that, Andre Turkin. A technical knockout of Joshua Smith. Monica Nunez defeats Shelley Burton, and Marvin Eastman, a TKO in his first professional boxing match at the age of 34 over Willie Brody. That's our card here tonight. Dave and I will be back and wrap this up from the Silverton Hotel and Casino Slugfest at the Silverton. Star Boxing and